Welcome to my 4-year DIY Microlocs update. In this video, I'm going to talk about the biggest changes that I have noticed in this year after being 4 years DIY Microlocked. I'm also going to speak on the maintenance routine that I have settled on that I believe is what is keeping my locks super healthy. I'm going to compare how my locks are now to how they were in my previous DIY Microlocs update videos. Of course, I'm going to give you those 360 and close-up shots of my hair as it currently is.
Hey, so this is Elizabeth from the future. A few quick notes. I recorded this update on my 4-year Locaversary in January of 2024, so apologies for the delay. Life be lifing sometimes. But it was really important to me that I got this video up before my next video, which will actually be my first ever trim in 11 years. So definitely keep on the lookout for that video. Okay, back to the 360.
That is the longest that I can stretch this. There's really not much elasticity left in my locks, even the ones in the front. So in my week 1 update, I guessed that my locks were mostly just going to shrink upwards rather than swell outwards. I don't really think that they're going to swell outwards that much. I think if anything, they're going to shrink up before they swell outwards, but just my theory. And now the locks that are in the front, which were somewhere between 1/4 of an inch and 5/16 of an inch, they didn't swell out much at all. Honestly, they're probably 1/16 of an inch, some of them, because this is the 1/8 inch, so half of that is 1/16 of an inch in diameter. And then the ones that were in the middle, these ones are basically like 1 solid 1/4 inch. Even though these ones I made more about this size, which is 5/16 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch. And then in the back, where my parts are 1/2 of an inch, these locks are nowhere near as thick as my 1/2 of an inch. Honestly, they're more like 1/4 of an inch in their largest parts. So I think this is pretty representative of one of the thickest locks on my head. And I would say at the thickest part of it, it's probably like 1/4 of an inch thick, though the parts in the back that I did were somewhere between 3/8 of an inch and 1/2 of an inch. So as I predicted, my hair really didn't swell that much outward per se. It mostly just like shrunk up. I attribute how they managed to stay long and cylindrical rather than really puffing out to me analyzing my hair texture well, and then also picking the perfect interlock rotation and size for me and my hair texture. So in the beginning, my locks were very stretchy and very easy to pull, but as you can see right now, they basically lost all stretch. And at the beginning, my hair was also very easy to pull into a bun, but as I will show you right now, that is definitely not the case. But if I do need to pull my locks into a bun, this type of hair tie is the perfect type of hair tie to use. I love these because they keep my hair up, they don't slip out of my hair, and they really do like stay in place. And honestly, they're relatively cheap and they don't pull at my hair or at my edges. So these have been a game changer. So now that you've seen how dense my hair is, I think you can basically understand why I get this specific question all the time. I get this question when I'm at work, I get this question in my DMs, I get this question when I'm just walking down the street and people have questions about my hair. Is your hair heavy? My answer is no, not at all. I honestly barely even recognize that I have as much hair on my head as I do. And I would say that the reason why it's not heavy has to do with a couple different things. One, in this version of locks, you really don't have to use any product if you do not want to. You don't have to use any wax or any gel, and therefore that is not building up on the inside of the lock. So with other types of locks where you do need to use a wax or a gel in order to keep your hair from unlocking or unraveling, those type of locks can get heavy. And even if I were to use some type of water-based retie gel, it washes right out, so it doesn't stay in the lock. Now in my 2-week update, I show you how there are a couple locks in the front that were regularly like slipping out and were very short. This one actually came out and then I braided it. As you can now see, this one has been staying in, and on this side, I think it was this one. But as of now, I don't have any more locks that I have to chain link in order to keep them from slipping out. If you're interested in learning what chain linking is and how it can be beneficial to you, especially when you're in the early stages of your microloc journey, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm thinking I might do a tutorial on that. I do, however, have this little one in the front, which was because one day I was just idly putting my hands in my hair and I just pulled it off. I think it was because this was one of the locks that I had tried putting a lock in order to make it more solid, and it was just really bugging me, and when I was doing my reties I kept catching, so I was like, screw it, and pulled it right off. Yeah, I would say don't do that, but it is not slipping out. It's been pretty happy just staying right there, so I'm just gonna let it grow. I do have 1 or 2 locks that I saved from whatever else I was doing, so at some point I might mend it by adding some hair onto the end, but for now I'm just gonna let it grow out. So in my 3-week update, I show you how there's like a lock halo of like fuzz that's present around my scalp. So there's some frizziness around the lock and there's some frizziness near my head. But I am currently at about 5 or 6 weeks since my last retie, and as you can see, there's no fuzz at all. I will say, however, that I did redo like 3 locks on this side and 4 locks in the front just to make them look a little bit fresher, but other than that, I have not retied my hair in about 5 or 6 weeks. Now, in my 3-week update, I also talked about how most of my ends were still curly. So the curls haven't fully formed yet. And also they're nowhere near closing up in the front, not at all. But they still look okay. And I would say now that I have a significant amount of my ends that have actually closed up. Let's see, like that one's basically closed. Mostly the ones in the back, and I would say even a significant portion of the ones in the front. But you will notice that the ones in the front, from basically about here down, they're not locked yet, and the ends are still curly, but as of literally the rest of my hair, and even for some of these really short ones up front, they're basically closed. I think that the reason why I still have a little bit of like a loose curlicue on the end of some of them is because I am always touching my hair and playing with all of my ends. So recently I did do a braid out because I was trying to see if I could figure out a way to make my hair look wavy, and I think during the process of that actually made my ends lock faster, and it was something I actually didn't like because it felt like my ends had like these little balls on them. So I'll just like play and kind of like detangle the end because I really didn't like the little ball that formed from my braid out. In general, I have never had a problem with lint, and right now I will show you where a person is most likely to have lint or buildup. As you can see though, I have no lint or buildup that is noticeable in my hair. I'm gonna put this on a screen, which is a picture of some buildup that I did find in my hair about 2 weeks ago, and I personally think that this buildup came from the leftovers of the Overtones coloring conditioner, but I just took some shampoo and rubbed it specifically in that area where the lock buildup was, and it's gone now. I haven't been able to find it, and I've gone looking. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the biggest change that I have noticed in my hair, basically between my 3-year and 4-year mark. And can you guess? I'll give you a moment to just think about it. What is it? If you guess that it was that my hair looks significantly longer and finally start dropping, then you are correct. So if you just see it, like, it finally looks so much longer than it has in the past. I had someone at work see me while I was at the computer and they go, "Girl," I was like, "What?" She goes, "Girl." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Your hair has been growing like a weed." I'm like, "Has it?" Literally a couple days before that, I had just been looking at my hair and be like, "It doesn't look any longer. When is it gonna start growing?" And I was having some lock envy, just like scrolling on Instagram. And then, after she said that, I started looking, I was like, you know what, it does look longer. It really does. Ever since that, I have noticed personally, maybe because she kind of like brought it to my attention, that after every retie, I feel like I notice the change in the length of my Microlocs. So here are some side-by-side compared to my 1-year update. And now compared to my 2-year update. And now compared to my 3-year update. So that means that it took me about 3 years and 9 or 10 months to actually notice that my hair had started dropping and or lengthening. And another change, which I would say is the second biggest change, is that the locks in the front are like locked. So considering that this was the year that my hair entered into a new stage of maturity, I think the next question should be, what has or has not changed in my hair maintenance / lock maintenance routine? Because I have changed some things and I have kept some things the same. I wash my locks every 2 to 4 weeks, which is basically the same as when I started. And I've been using the same shampoo basically since the start of my journey. And I do sometimes wonder if my locks would have matured faster if I had used another shampoo, but I have no lint and I have no buildup, so I know at the very least that the shampoo that I've been using has been a great clarifier. So I stopped braiding and banding before washing my hair at around 1 year and 8 months. But note that I still braid and band my hair after I've washed my hair. And I honestly think that braiding and banding after washing my hair is what has kept my locks super cylindrical and very uniform and kept me from having any of the other issues like bunching or slippage. And I think that this has been super integral in me keeping my locks uniform and cylindrical. After I wash and then braid and band my hair, I am still using this t-shirt towel to dry my hair until it's about 80 to 90% dry. And then I will let it dry the rest of the way while it's out and loose, because I don't personally like how my hair looks when it's super curly or when it's post braid out. One of the other things that has stayed mostly the same in terms of me drying my hair has been that I've never really used a blow dryer to dry my hair, and I still don't. I retighten some people's hair, and she told me basically that she'd been blow drying after every single wash, and I suggested to her that she just let her hair air dry, and I think it was after that she came back the next time and she said, "Oh wow, my locks have finally blossomed and thickened up." So if you just started your journey and you're wondering why your locks haven't thickened up and you've been blow drying after every single wash, then maybe that is one place that you can look for a solution. Now, when I jog or exercise, what I do has changed. There was a point at which I was doing 2 French braids or putting it in some stretch style before I exercised. But now I barely do anything. I'll throw it up into a high bun, low bun, or sometimes I'll just do a half updo. I really don't care about humidity and my locks really at all. Now, in terms of how often I retie, I'm actually pretty bad about following a set schedule for when I retighten my own hair, but I really try to do it about every 5 to 7 weeks and never go any longer than that. And yes, I am 100% DIY. I did have a professional retighten my hair once out of the 4 years I've been locked, and I also had a complete novice damage my hair and only complete 1/3 of my locks. So I really don't count that novice damaging my hair as a retie. And I feel like if I had a professional retighten my hair once out of the probably, let's say I retighten my hair 4 times out of the 48 or like however many times I retighten my hair myself, then I am 100% DIY, especially considering the fact that I also self-installed these 100% on my own. Interestingly, I was going back through all of my update videos, and I know that at one point I mentioned how I went to that professional who did my hair spectacularly, that I was going to record that video, and I thought that I never recorded that video. But I was looking back through the videos on my phone, and it turned out I actually recorded video on how she did and the things she said about my hair. So if you are interested in hearing my basically secondhand account of what she said, and recorded basically 3 or 4 years ago, let me know if that would be of any interest to you in the comment section below. So there are 3 things that I have done that I believe have vastly improved the quality of these super small locks that you see in the front of my hairline. One of the things I've been doing is that I have actually been using this braiding gel for my reties in the front of my locks. Like specifically, I only use this for the front section of my locks, and I think that that is one of the reasons why my front looks so much healthier. One thing that I've been doing that I think is really helping the health and quality of the locks in the front is that before I retighten the front of my hair, I go into the bathroom and I look at each individual row and I analyze where each piece of hair will go. And I think that that's one of the reasons why some of the locks in the front that were kind of thinning out are no longer thinning out, and they look much stronger. The third thing that I think is really keeping those locks in the front looking nice is that I've been putting this headband on my edges every night before I go to sleep. I think this is one of the reasons why my edges look so much healthier and why I don't get this like weird fuzziness at the edges, and why I feel like just overall the front of my hair looks so much better. So kind of in summary, when it comes to how I feel about my DIY Microlocs at 4 years locked, I can honestly say that my only true feeling is that I regret not starting my Microlocs sooner. And if you're interested in finding this DIY Microlocs sizing card, you can find it on my website, which is queenielime.com. And real quick, if you like this video and want to see a whole bunch more videos just like this, make sure to like and subscribe and click that notification bell so that you can see updates as soon as they're uploaded.